when did you know that music was going to be a part of your life?
So, it's interesting. I guess kind of always in a sense. To this degree, never. I never knew this, but like basically when I was in second grade. Oh no, when I was in first grade, I used to always sing at my desk, and during like parent-teacher conferences, my teacher would say to my mom, like, "Oh, he's always singing, but I think I'm just gonna let him keep going." And and the next year, like second grade came around, and the PTA parent teacher conference would come up, and the teacher was like, "Is there any way you can like make him stop?" But and it was always so tough to because there was always a beat, there was always like. If I heard something catchy on the radio on the way into school or something, I'd be singing all day, pissing everybody off. But it's always been the only thing that like I really felt like I could totally wrap my head around, like in terms of like there'd be like basic math stuff that I really couldn't get down, and like I always wondered why I can't do that. But I guess people just have their strengths and their weaknesses, and I guess I just kind of uh you know get attracted to the music part, and that's always just been the thing that made sense. So in a sense, I can't really, I could do something else, I suppose, but I just wouldn't, like I feel like in terms of my purpose, you know that's got to be it.
Nice. When you were, I guess, growing up, like, did you want to be a singer, or when did like the instruments come into play?
um Well, I always like really idolized people like Billy Joe Armstrong from Green Day. Like really, like I dressed up like him all the time. I used to like put on eyeliner in sixth grade and go to school and stuff just because I really, I loved everything about like the rock starism that he was like kind of doing. And so it was kind of like he was like my first idol in a sense. There was always like the total package. Like I always felt like I always saw people playing and singing. And obviously, you go back in time and there's just singers, like obviously there's great singers that just sing. But, that kind of rock star, I think it was Billy Joe Armstrong that kind of just put that like, just, singing and strumming away the thing in my head. And yeah, so it was kind of like just like a package deal ever since like basically sixth grade, that I would always just kind of, learn Green Day covers or learn Blink-182 covers. And it was always just, they always kind of came together. It wasn't just like, I'm going to focus on my singing today, or I'm going to really focus on my guitar playing today. It was always just kind of like setting up a mic at home and like my Fender little amp and just like, you know what I mean? And that's kind of always what it's been.
Yeah. So when did you start writing like your own music?
Um, Music that I was willing to show the world, probably around high school. I mean, I've always kind of written little things even since like middle school and stuff, but those songs were more like, I don't know, when you're in your rudimentary stages of songwriting, I feel like it's always kind of just just like 15 degrees off center of another song. Like I wrote so many songs that were basically just another Green Day song, but like changed a couple words. I don't know, like that's it's like it's a skill like anything else songwriting. You start with like training wheels in a certain sense and you get there. But yeah, so I would say as far back as maybe eighth grade, you'll hear original songs that you might find on YouTube, just scattered throughout the internet.
When did you start recording your own music?
So that happened basically pretty late in the game, honestly. Like all through high school, I had like basically no interest in it. It was the weirdest thing. Like I guess just because my neighbor had like a laptop and I would just call him up and he would come over. But when I got to college, especially the second year, I mean, that's kind of what we were in the music industry program, me and my alumni friends. And basically, like, we had to record at some point. So I was like, okay, I'm going to like get an M box, get like a $100 condenser microphone. And I remember thinking this doesn't sound good. Like the first things like I was recording, like, this is like so dry and weird sounding. So the first thing I bought, like in terms of software, was Auto-Tune. And like that's kind of been, I've learned the ins and outs of that since then, and like how to record things without using it and blah blah blah. But the first thing I remember really trying to recreate was the ending of Feeling This by Blink-182, just because like there's that 4-part vocal part, and like I could never sing that well with 3 other people. So I was like, what if I could just like if I can get this on the grid on the Pro Tools, I can just like kind of listen back, and like everything from there kind of branched off into other things that I wanted to do down the line in some way. Like, like I was eventually in like a Beach Boy cover band, and I was eventually, like doing like lots of pop punk stuff. But like that kind of like just in my dorm room back in like 2012, that's kind of like where it all kind of stemmed from.
Yeah. Like, how did you, or did you take classes like for recording, or how did you learn about, how to like mix and stuff like that?
So at the College of St. Rose, I did actually take classes. That being said, and the teachers were great, and there's a lot of guidance that I received. However, a lot of the things that I have learned have come after that.
Mm.
Because like I don't know, just being in college and stuff, it's like it is what you make it. And maybe it wasn't the most like dedicated student. And I think just like the fact that it was like a graded classroom setting, just like I automatically kind of tuned out. But being around it, like the stuff kind of comes in waves in my recollection, like like I would just suggest to anybody listening, if you want to get into mixing, you don't need a college course. You don't need any of that stuff. You just need like a couple good YouTube videos and the drive to do it, because that's like everything since then. I've just kind of like, like even I used to work at as an intern at John Feldman's studio, and I didn't get a lot of, that he was recording Blink 182 at the time actually, and didn't really get a lot of hands-on time there at all. Like I didn't have a notebook. I wasn't on the board. I wasn't mixing, but that stuff, because I wasn't getting to do that stuff, I would go home and I'd be looking up like, how do I do this? You know what I mean? So it's kind of like a weird cause and effect thing, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, all of your recordings sound so like professional. Like they sound so great, man. Like everything.
Thank you very
So
much.
yeah, for sure. So how did you learn about like gear? Because I saw you posted, I think you posted a picture like the other day of
Yeah,
your recording gear, and
yeah.
it's like super impressive. Like how did like I mean, cause me personally, I'm trying to record and stuff, and like I just have an interface
Mhm.
and Logic, and I understand like the basics, but when it comes to gear, I don't even know where to begin. Like, how did you get into like gear for recording stuff like that?
I guess I've just been collecting it for a long, long time. Basically, since that like 2012, so probably like 10 years now. Like, just like putting a lot of my. Let's just say that I haven't like really been saving up for a future home or anything like that, and I live at home, still. But but I have, like I've been able, because of that, I've been able to, accumulate a lot of gear working at jobs. I worked at Guitar Center for probably 2 years, and they have a discount program there. So like all my paychecks were getting pumped into like these half off, like really nice things. And I was like, yes, this is awesome. But whereas I don't know, it's just one way of looking at things, I guess. But what I would say in terms of, you mentioned you have like a small interface and whatnot. And like, you know, the you start to see little differences as you go up like the chain in terms of gear. Like I kind of liken it to, if you're a gamer, like when the Super Nintendo came out and then the N64 came out, that was a huge gap. But then after that, you start seeing like these really tiny gaps, even though like all, like the Wii, for the GameCube to the Wii,
Mm.
like those kind of graphics. And it kind of gets like that as you work your way up the pro audio chain. So you'd be surprised how good you can make some of the more rudimentary stuff sound if you have some of the know-how. Like it's not necessarily the end of the world. Now, these are really awesome toys, and like like if anything broke down, I'd definitely be a little bit bummed out for sure. But it's it's not. I wouldn't say it's a problem yet, but I've got a lot of gear at this point. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome, man. So we'll go back to your music. What was the first band that you started or that you joined?
First band was called Only Chance, and that started in it's such a, like a right like middle school name almost, but seventh grade, I believe that started. And what was the other part of that question?
Oh, just like when I guess like when did you want to play like live music or
Oh
any?
yeah, I mean, again, it all stems back to that like looking up to Billy Joe Armstrong from Green Day, and like I just really wanted to get to a point where, because I mean, I went and saw American Idiot live, and that's exactly what I wanted from that day forward. But like just playing on like the Jam Day, I think it was called, or whatever, just like the end of the year bash, just yeah, whenever I could get on stage, that was like my happy place for sure. Yeah, I mean that's what it's always been about in a sense, even from a young age.
Yeah. When did you start playing like I guess like local gigs, stuff like that?
So that probably wasn't until my high school band, Uncle Joel's Comb, and that was a ska band. That's kind of how I found the genre. And I was a guitar player in that band. And we were, we were pretty young, like younger than 18 probably, and we were kind of getting into like the touring aspect and getting into the, the local promoters would do the pay to play stuff that was really big back then. So we were always like bussing tickets, to all of our classmates. And if we had two in 1 month, they'd be like, dude, we just can't, like, we just we like your band, but yeah, um, so that was, that was definitely a time for sure. Like very, very fond memory. Yeah.
Yeah, I know I played a few like pay to play stuff, and
Yeah.
yeah, you know, I mean, it's you get the experience, but
Yeah.
you grow up and you're just like, just kind of not do that.
Right. And I mean, I get it, like local venues were like struggling to stay afloat. And a lot of the ones that we used to play at in Albany are not around anymore. And, so like, I know that there's it just sucks that that's what it's come down to. And that we have to like push music, live music, or at least back then, especially had to push live music so hard because people were just totally phased out of it in a certain sense. But hopefully, it seems like it's coming back a bit, especially now that, it's basically, people want what they can't have in a certain sense.
Yeah.
And now that it's like, it's just like in reach, after Corona, I feel like live music will have a fairly large boom again. I hope.
Yeah, I'm with you with that. So you mentioned ska music and playing guitar. When did like you start getting into bass?
So I mean, I've had bass lessons like probably, I don't know, I took bass lessons when I was like 15, and I've always had a bass here, and I've always kind of doubled on it but never actually performed on it. I think it was the day that we shot J45 music video. I hadn't decided which instrument I was playing in this band until that day, actually. I feel like because we were gonna, we was like a last minute lineup change, and basically, the person who's playing guitar in that video is basically an actor. So it was like that time, like, all right, I'll play bass. And just, since that, I like the bass parts, and I figured as long as I can play and sing them, then I'll stick on it. And it took some practice kind of getting it down, but I got there, and that's where I'm at now. And I'm really happy with the decision in hindsight, just because like a lot of people who play bass have reached out and said like, that's a cool part, or you know what I mean, or like, can I have the tabs? And I feel like for guitar, I can't do much flashy stuff. Nobody would like, be like, oh, cool power chords or whatever. Like, yeah, maybe, I don't know, but when it comes to bass, like I feel like I can kind of talk on that instrument a little bit better.
Yeah. Did you write all the bass parts?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, those bass parts are awesome, and then it's super impressive to sing and play
Thank you.
like those bass lines. That's badass.
Some of them I don't have down, like, especially from our last record. Like I don't know. I'm pretty close. I'm pretty close with a lot of them. But some of them, if you ever see us live, you might, if you know our bass parts in and out, you might hear a bum note or two.
No, that's all good, man. So you mentioned too, like when you record, you have to play or have like your instrument when you're singing.
When I'm recording, I think
Yeah.
I was just being a
Okay.
online. Yeah, no, no. When I'm singing in the studio, I'm like super zen singer, like trying to channel Freddie Mercury. Not quite, but like I'm like I'm very in touch with like the intonation, like when I'm singing in the studio. Like vocals definitely take precedent. Like I I think it would probably suffer if I tried to play the bass parts. Sometimes the bass parts are even written by the time I'm tracking vocals. So,
Yeah.
I have seen singers, though, for example, when I was working at Feldman Studio, some of them like had to pantomime playing guitar while they were tracking vocals. So it's not like, it's not like the craziest thing in the world. But just for me, I have to like really focus because like I'm trying to grow as a singer too, so.
And so how are you like, what are you doing to grow as a singer?
That's a great question. Let's see. Well, drinking a lot of water is one. The voice is a muscle, and it's a muscle that needs to be trained. So, I'll notice that, you have to practice. You really do have to practice singing. You have to like, and find a spot like that the acoustics, if you want to like improve your vocals, find a spot in your house that's like the acoustics are, something that you're familiar with, and you can like, I guess in a sense, like when you're singing and you really have to just listen to yourself. So you find a spot where you can like sing and hear yourself in a proper way. And that's what I've been doing. And like always training my ears. And that's a big thing too. Like, cause it is a feedback system. Like, I mean, I suppose you could sing if you're deaf, but like, but so that would be a different system of feedback, I guess, because that would be like vibrations. But, I have personally been training my ears when I'm singing, because I want to get like right on the pitch. I want to do like vibrato when it sounds good. I want to like, I've been trying to like do some runs in our new stuff. But like, so just like kind of becoming more one with myself as an instrument, you know what I mean? Like becoming an instrument instead of just necessarily like a punk guy, which I've been in the past, which is fine. But like, like a real performance, like, cause the beauty of us as being a singer is that your voice can change, your voice can do things, you can find spots where it really works, so it's not like an instrument out of a factory. It's like this ever-changing thing that you can better. It's been quite a journey, because like I remember back in middle school I would have my classmates be like, you can't sing, right? But lately people have been pretty kind about things, so it feels good to like have noticeable improvement, even if it's been a matter of years. Like it's been cool.
Yeah, for sure. I think like your voice is just super noticeable. Like I actually found Millington on the Essential Ska playlist on Spotify,
Yeah.
and you have like a bunch of songs on that playlist, and like anytime a song comes on, I'm just like, all right, I know that's y'all.
Cool.
Wait,
So you're saying you recognize my voice when oh,
absolutely.
cool, that's awesome,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean I'm like a big fan of like pop punk, and just I like your whole vibe of like pop punk and ska is just like speaks to me so much.
I'm so glad.
But when did you like find that voice? Because again, like it's super recognizable, at least to me. Like I know it's you.
Yeah, so I guess it kind of comes about like all through, again, back in high school. We were in this band, Uncle Joel's Comb, and our singer was actually like pretty much a baritone at the time, and I was a backup singer. Um, and I would always find that like when I was trading lines with him, my voice didn't sound very good. And I was like, why is that? Because I feel like I'm belting, but it just doesn't sound very good. And it turns out that I was trying to like sing in the same range as a baritone. And then like down the line, I found bands like Boys Like Girls. Yeah. I don't know why that sounded wrong when it came out, but yeah, that's the band with The Great Escape, um, Love Drunk, Hero Heroine. Yeah. Bands like that, All Time Low, and like like singing along with them, and Dashboard Confessional especially, and like singing along with them like felt kind of right. And I was noticing that like I'm feeling like like when I went to go sing along with these things, like potentially my classmates couldn't do the same. So I felt like I stood out as a tenor, and realizing that my voice actually works in a much higher capacity than the previous, like trying to sing along with Blink stuff, trying to sing along with our old singer. I was like, it's not that I've been bad all these years. It's just that I haven't been singing my voice part, So kind of like rediscovering being a tenor, and just like being, it cuts through and it's unique. And I'm really glad that I'm able to present it in a way that people enjoy. So yeah, I'm always working on it. And, like my voice hasn't necessarily set yet. So I'm finding even, songs that I did like 2 years ago, like Crossroads, I would probably do a half step down, it's always changing again. Like it is like a very biological instrument, but I'm definitely going to be, a tenor for the rest of my days. So I'm all about it.
Awesome. What's your writing process like for just new music, new Millington stuff?
So it used to be like basically all of Beatdown Generation kind of came about when I was driving to and from work. I used to work at Guitar Center. And like literally on the commute, I would just be driving, not listening to music, just like early in the morning. And like this disembodied idea would come into my head. And like, I'd wait till I got to a red light and I'd record, hum or whatever into my voice memo and then go to work. And I had a pretty mundane job just in the back of the warehouse. So I would like kind of like work those ideas out all day and then work on it on the way home, and then like get home, try to record it, and then pass out, go to work the next day, repeat, you know what I mean? And that was Beatdown Generation. That was the music before that too, the first couple singles before that. Lately, It's been, I don't want to say it's been a dry period because we do have a lot of good tunes coming out, but I think just because of COVID was a thing, and like I didn't get to leave the house much. It's weird because I was basically locked in my studio, but these ideas weren't flowing like they were when I wasn't, So again, it's like when I'm on the road and when I'm not allowed to be in the creative area, that's when the ideas come, and then I can use the studio more as like a workspace. But when I'm locked in the studio, it's like these ideas, it's like it's trying to force it, and I don't want to force it. So that's why it's been a bit since our last release. But the vibe, social vibe's been getting better. Things have been getting good. So I think like the ideas are flowing again, and I can't really put my finger on what the exact process is now. I guess it's kind of just like I don't know. It's still kind of the voice memo thing, but it almost it's been coming more to me like poetry lately. Just like I never used to start with lyrical ideas. It would always just be like a melody. Now like these kind of emo tweet worthy ideas have been popping into my head. I write them down, and that kind of just has been flowing more so this way. So
yeah, that's awesome, man. What's your go-to bass when you're recording?
So behind me, I have my Jaguar bass, which is of Japanese make. It used to be black, and then I had it painted yellow in high school, and then I painted it seafoam green. And that's got vintage custom shop 62 jazz pickups or something like that. I don't know which year in the 60s, but vintage custom shop 60 something. And then so that's like the flagship one. I always reach for that when I record. I sometimes I always, whenever I record, especially for pop punk, I always do new strings. Like that's how it kind of cuts through. You get the reactivate the high harmonic series stuff to kind of compete with the guitar. I also sometimes do use the Rick. I do love that bass, but I don't know how to record it in a way that sits in the, like the Fender bass sound is something that just like have been hearing in constant rock records. I know right where to mix it. When it comes to the Rick, that's a through neck. So it's like, it has a way lower fundamental, and that's awesome. It's a bassy bass, but I don't know how to put it in places because I'm just not used to hearing it in a certain extent. But I love it for live. And then next to that, I have the Fender, the Bass 6, which is it's more of an experimental thing because you don't really get any low fundamentals until like the 5th fret anyway. Like everything below that sounds like a loose spaghetti string, but but it's fun, and it's like basically the size of a jazz master. So you can play chords on it and do what you want.
Yeah, I've seen those like come up more recently. I've been watching like Scary Pockets like videos, and their bass player like sometimes switches to that, and I was like, that sounds like a bass, but it looks like a guitar. I didn't really like know too much about that. That's wild.
Yeah, there's stuff you can do to make it like get the low end pumping, but I mean it has like Jaguar like guitar pickups. Like it has Jaguar American. I put in American Jaguar guitar pickups, but it was a Squire originally, and then I painted it and to put I put it into like the custom shop specs, but it's more of a toy for me. I would never record with it unless it was like something vintage sounding, maybe, because you can do pretty cool palm muting stuff. But yeah, it's cool. It's a toy, and I would play it live probably. But yeah, it looks cool, and it's a fun thing, and it's a fun story. So
yeah, for sure. Speaking of vintage, and you mentioned earlier your Beach Boys cover band, like your Beach Boy cover was great. Like, what was the idea behind that?
Honestly, I don't know. I've always like they're my favorite band. Them and Blink-182 kind of share the same spot, whereas like I guess the Beach Boys are like my nostalgia favorite band because I used to hear them growing up, and then like the Blink-182 favorite band is kind of what I found personally. But yeah, I've always been pumping their tunes, and like we have a band that everybody can sing. I thought it'd be cool. I mean, obviously he's passed now, but John was a great bass vocalist, so I thought it would be cool to feature him. And shout out to John, by the way. And like I just thought it'd be cool to kind of do something like that. And my old bands have actually done some covers of them too, and I just I thought it'd be cool to trade off vocals and kind of give everybody a feature. So yeah, I mean, it's probably not even the last Beach Boy cover you'll hear from us, to be honest. Yeah.
Awesome, man. And my condolences, dude. I lost like one of my best friends, and it's tough. I know. So,
I'm sorry to hear
uh,
that.
yeah, man. But yeah, I appreciate you like still, doing music, putting out stuff, and like being super transparent about it because I think that's super cool for everyone.
Yeah, yeah. It's I'm not. I think it's just it's part of like the grieving process, obviously, and I don't. It sucks to talk about him in past tense, but like I'm not going to pretend that something didn't happen because it has, and like I think just the best way in honoring what he wanted for our band and to move forward is to move forward in a sense. And he always, like the two things he always told me that he wanted for me and for the band was to like do the music, but like do it
Hmm.
healthy. You know what I mean? And do it
Yeah.
as it makes sense, and it still makes sense. And he's a huge proprietor of music, so like we're gonna keep pushing forward. I mean, it's been a rough couple of weeks so far, but we're still pushing, and we're gonna do the best we can, and we're gonna keep rocking out,
Yeah.
and we won't forget him, but we're gonna do him proud for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So what is coming up for the rest of the year onto next year? You have any plans?
In terms of, we haven't gotten heavily into the booking of shows for a couple reasons. One, obviously it's kind of hit or miss in terms of like how people not at least see it, but like how promoters want to do it. In terms of like COVID still being a potential risk. So we
Mhm.
haven't quite got there for that reason. Partially, the other reason is that we do need a horn section. And we've got a couple people that we're talking to now. We just want to make sure it's the right fit. Especially because, in today's day and age, you have to, I mean, in all eras, but especially in today's day and age, you need a good player. You also need a good person. You know what I mean? And that's it shouldn't be too hard to find. Like I'm just
Yeah.
what I'm saying, but like you don't know when you first meet somebody, and you want to make sure it's the right thing. So,
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, in terms of the rest of the year, we're working towards a new album for sure. Not no solid dates on that right now. I want to get a single out soon. We do have a song or two that are like pretty close. Like I get the songs almost done by the demo stage, strangely enough. And then the drummer comes in, he, overdubs the MIDI drums, and, our guitar player will come in and do his thing. He'll sing on it, do some playing. And then, basically it's just swapping it out for better sounds at that point.
Yeah.
We're gonna have some songs out, I hope in a couple months, possibly. You know what I mean? Like that's what I want. I want people to hear what we've been cooking up, because it is, I think our next record is going to be something special, like big, different for sure. Still going to have some of that ska love on it, but it's also going to be like, something you could play in an arena potentially, like big and like astral in a sense.
Yeah. That's super exciting, man. Are you gonna be doing like the mixing and mastering on this?
Yep. It's funny. I was talking to Matt Appleton from Real Big Fish yesterday. He's the sax player, and he does horn recordings on a ton of stuff. And I sent him, something I was working on, and I was like, "Do you think because I'm still kind of unsure, like what can I do better?" But I sent it to him, and he was like, "Yeah, like this is totally like, he's like, who's to say what you could change? Like I think like this competes, with commercial stuff." So I was like, that was like, okay,
Yeah.
I can do the next, like I can do the next record. I don't have to outsource. Like if somebody that's done like super, super legit stuff can say that to me, then I'm like, all right, I'm in a good spot. Like I feel confident. Like that definitely raised my confidence back up. And because I have thought of like, oh, like what if I just recorded it, or what if I just recorded it and mixed it and had someone else master? I still might have someone else master, but I'm definitely going to produce it. I'm definitely going to mix it. I'm definitely going to track it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that, because that's definitely like my wheelhouse and where I feel the best about music for sure.
Awesome. What's your plan like when you release it? Like, are you gonna release it independently? I think I saw someone talking about like labels and stuff the other day, and I'm just curious what your thoughts are on that now, like this era, this day and age.
Labels, what I will say as a general statement is labels are an interesting thing,
Hmm.
because I think they were kind of formed originally back in the day because recording stuff was so expensive, and like artists couldn't just go pay for a recording. Because you had to go to the studio that had like a big board, whatever. So they were basically bank accounts for bands, right? Um, Now the recording world has changed, but that aspect of labels hasn't really. So like in a sense, a lot of them are just like high interest loans for bands, with perks. And the perks is what I'm looking for,
Mm.
like whatever, sell me on whatever money you're going to give me or not give me. That's whatever. But perks, I need perks. You know what I mean? So that being said, like it's very possible that you will see our next record. Even though it seems like I just talked down on labels, but it's possible that you might see our next record on a label. Not 100% sure what that's going to look like yet or when, we might very well just do it independently, but we've been in the talks with a few of them. So, who's to say, I'm sure that, if we do find a partner for the next record, it'll be a special one for sure.
Cool. A few more. I'm curious on just how like I guess I don't know if it's market, but how do you get Millington out? Because like you made it to the Spotify playlist, like
Right.
you're active like on social media and stuff. Like, what's just your mindset with like getting your band out?
Um, I'd say like 2 parts luck, 1 part tomfoolery. I don't know, like the whole. I mean, I'll be super transparent about the Spotify playlisting because I feel like that's been a huge part of our initial success. When we got onto that, Spotify's program was new, like their pitch song to an editor program. That was a new thing. And part of me feels like because ska is very niche and because they're not getting a ton of new artists every day, because we delivered them a polished product at a time that, they were offering that service, I think we got in pretty easily, which is awesome. And maybe because we've got in once, it's, you don't have to go to the intern anymore. Maybe it just goes right to the desk. I don't know. I'm not sure. Because I pitched many songs post, our first couple of songs getting on there and, not to the same luck, unfortunately. But, luckily things have taken off enough where it's not super detrimental. I don't know. I think now that Spotify has a program where you can like similar to YouTube campaigns where you can pay to like get your song heard. I think that like the lucky getting on the Spotify playlist thing, it might be a thing of the past. I hope not, because I think a lot of artists have made it to a lot of people who needed to hear their music that way. And I hope that they keep doing that. But as for marketing of the band, I just, I don't know. I try to be entertaining. I definitely keep it real. I don't know. I personally feel like I need a marketing person, like I think I could definitely benefit from somebody who like totally crushes the marketing game. But luckily everybody's been super cool to us online, even when I'm just being an idiot about stuff, you know what I mean? Like people get the brand and that's awesome. Like I can't ask for a better fan base for sure. Cause nobody there's been an occasional dumb comment or two, but like, other than that, like people are really radical and just, they get it. They and it's been a cool back and forth with fans and friends and whatnot.
Yeah, for sure. And then this is just random because I keep looking at your video games. What's your favorite system?
N64.
64. And then favorite like franchise?
Ooh. Well, my favorite game of all time is Banjo-Tooie on N64. I wish the franchise, went on to do bigger and better things, but they got sold obviously to Microsoft. I don't know. I love Mario. I mean, it's so like, I guess stereotypical, but like that game, that series has gotten me like, has pulled me out of a lot of holes that I've dug myself into. It's funny to say about a video game, I guess, but like, I don't know. It's just like, it definitely like, gave me enough of a distraction in the times that I needed it in the past. So like I feel like I almost owe it a certain,
Yeah. I love the Mario like sports games. I don't think those get like enough love, but that just sends me to like growing up with my brothers, like playing Mario Golf. And
oh hell yeah, yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, I love the N64 one. I love the GameCube one, and I love the one that just came out. Yeah, Mario Golf is that's dope. That's really cool.
And just a random one. If you had to cover a Mario song, what song would you cover?
I'm trying to think. Like, I've heard really cool like acapella versions of like just like the random ditties, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like ones. There's not many with vocals, obviously, but I bet like I guess I would probably try like Jump Up Superstar and just see what it like because it's got horns and to probably make it fast punk. Why not?
Yeah, there's some like ska Discord that's out there, and there's like a little collab thing, and I was like, okay, we can all collab together. And someone suggested that song. I was like, yeah, totally, we can do it. I'll have like a little shell of it for y'all by the end of the day. And I looked it up and I was like, I can't do this. This is
It's
way too.
tough because it's like almost like a jazz chart, right? Like it's big band, right?
Yeah, there's like 20 different chords and
Oh
stuff.
my god, yeah, yeah. Big band stuff is crazy. Like yeah, like you really the thing with big band that's weird is that if you like look at the guitar part and you try to play like the music, it's like this doesn't sound like the song. Like, but like you need at least like 15 of the 20 parts in order to like start to get a semblance of the melody. So it's like that's where like jazz and like big band stuff blows my mind.
Yeah, man. Where can people listen to you?
We're everywhere. Spotify, Apple Music. Look up the band Millington. That's us. You can also find us on YouTube. We got a music video for our song "Beatdown Generation" coming out probably in a couple of weeks, honestly. Where else can you find us? Instagram, Millington the band. Twitter. I forgot it. Milling tweets, I think. But yeah, no, we're anywhere. We're everywhere. Honestly, just type in the word Millington, you'll find us.
Awesome. Dude, Cody, thank you so much for taking time to talk to me. I really appreciate it. Um, and yeah, man, I just hope you have a good day and I'll catch up with you later.
All right. Enjoy band practice.
All right. Thank you so much. Later.